Have you ever heard of someone calling the police on a 76-year-old man just for fishing? What if I told you that same man owns nearly half the lake they tried to ban him from? What happens when a rule-obsessed HOA Karen tries to flex her power, only to find out she messed with the wrong grandpa? And most importantly, can a quiet old man bring an entire neighborhood to its knees without even raising his voice? Stick around, because what started as a fishing trip turned into one of the most satisfying stories of silent revenge you'll ever hear. You ever have one of those mornings where the sun is out, the breeze is perfect, and nothing seems like it could go wrong? Yeah, that was today. Until Karen happened. I was down by the lake with my grandpa. He's 76, heart like a metronome, hands steady as stone, and he was doing what he's done every Saturday since I was a kid, casting his line into the still water from the same grassy spot he's fished from for years. Then came the screech. Not of a hawk. Not of a reel spinning out. No, it was Karen. You can't fish here. This is HOA property! Grandpa didn't even look up, just reeled in slow and steady like he knew this song already. Within 10 minutes, she'd called the police. For fishing. By a 76-year-old. Man with a Vietnam vet hat and a cooler. Full of Mountain Dew. What she didn't know? That flooded lake she was screaming about? He owns half of it. And that was only the beginning. Because the real story isn't about a fishing trip gone wrong. It's about what happens when entitlement meets quiet power. Grandpa didn't just get even. He made sure she'd never forget who really runs this lake. The neighborhood's called Lakemont Ridge. Fancy name for a place where everyone thinks they're royalty because the mailboxes match. Grandpa moved here 22 years ago, when the lake was just a pond and the HOA was a folding table in some guy's garage. He helped fund the dredging project that expanded the lake, donated part of his own land to make it happen, deeded it with conditions, one of which, lifetime access to fish. So when Karen moved in 3 years ago, with her Range Rover and her full-time attitude, she didn't care much about history. She cared about rules and appearances. This isn't a trailer park, she said once when Grandpa was fixing a rod on the tailgate. I'll admit it, I laughed. She said it loud enough for him to hear. But he just tapped his tackle box like it was Morse code for let her bark. Then came the sign. 2 weeks before our Saturday fishing day, a brand new sign went up. Private HOA property, no fishing, no trespassing violators. Will be fined. Grandpa just raised an eyebrow. That's cute. He still went fishing that Saturday. I think he even whistled while casting. Karen, however, was locked on from her deck like a hawk who'd just spotted a squirrel with unpaid dues. She didn't come down. Not yet. She took photos, called the HOA, filed a formal complaint. The next week, there was a note on Grandpa's door. Cease and desist fishing activity or face legal action under HOA Code 4.12. Grandpa framed it. No joke. Then he invited me fishing again. Bring popcorn, he said. That was just the beginning. The week after the letter, Grandpa and I returned to the lake with chairs, rods, and a Bluetooth speaker playing classic rock at a respectful volume. Karen came marching across the lawn like she was leading a Roman legion. You were warned! Grandpa looked at her, calm as the lake. Warned about what? The fish? That's when she pulled out her phone. I'm calling the police. You already did that last week, he said. Should I call them this time so we don't double up? I swear I saw steam rise. This time she brought backup. HOA board members, 3 of them, all in polos and lanyards like they were working security at Coachella. They handed Grandpa an envelope, a formal fine. $500. He opened it, smiled, and said, "Does it come with a raffle ticket?" That's when things started to spiral. Over the next 2 weeks, Karen reported him for unauthorized wildlife interaction. The HOA taped no fishing notices to his mailbox. Someone unscrewed the bench by the lake Grandpa liked to use. They even had the audacity to send a landscaper to cut down the shade tree near his spot. Said it was non-native. Grandpa, still calm, but I knew he was building something. Every evening, he'd sit at the kitchen table with a folder marked Lake Docs. He made copies, highlighted deeds, called his lawyer, the one who owed him a favor from years back. Time to remind them, he muttered once. Who poured the first concrete on this lake? Then came the big push. Karen posted a video of Grandpa fishing, edited to make it seem like he yelled at her. Uploaded it to the HOA Facebook page, captioned, "Violent trespasser harassing residents." It got 38 likes and a storm of comments. Some called Grandpa a threat. One said he should be arrested. That was the last straw, because the next Saturday, Grandpa didn't bring a rod. He brought a clipboard. And a plan. That morning, Grandpa wore his old fishing vest, but every pocket was stuffed with paperwork, not bait. He went door to door. Calm, polite, persistent. "Just wanted to let you know," he said to each neighbor, "that I co-own 48% of the lake. That includes the shoreline from lot 14 to lot 28. Karen lives on lot 22. He handed out maps, deeds, legal definitions of riparian access. Then came the letter. He sent a certified notice to the HOA. Effective immediately. I am revoking HOA recreational access to my portion of the lake due to harassment and violation of deeded terms. Further use will constitute trespassing. That same week, he installed small but visible signs along his shoreline. Private property, fishing by invitation. Only. He invited 2 local dads and their kids. Even brought them tackle. Karen came storming out again. You can't do this. You don't have that authority. Grandpa didn't even look up. Just pointed at the deed hanging from his lanyard. I have the authority. And the receipts. Then, in a true act of symbolic justice, he renamed his shoreline. Karen's Cove. Put it on a wooden sign. So she always remembers it's not hers, he winked. The HOA tried to push back. Threatened legal action. Grandpa's lawyer responded with a 12-page reminder of land, rights, and a polite suggestion to cease the harassment before legal countersuit. Suddenly, the HOA got very quiet. And Karen? Well, she made one more move. And it would be her last. At the next HOA meeting, Karen stood up. I moved to ban all fishing on the lake. Permanently. Murmurs, side eyes, someone coughed. Then Grandpa stood. I moved to replace current board members for overreach and harassment. He handed the secretary a petition, signed by 62% of residents. Karen turned pale. She tried to object, but the votes were cast. The board was ousted. New members were voted in, including Grandpa. First motion passed, reinstating respectful fishing access per original deed agreements. Second motion, formal HOA apology to Mr. Franklin. That night, Karen's video disappeared from Facebook. Her no fishing sign was quietly removed. And Grandpa? He went back to the lake. Same spot, same rod, same hat. Only this time, every neighbor who passed by smiled and waved. Justice is like fishing, he told me, casting into the water. Takes patience, but always lands. It's easy to underestimate someone who doesn't shout. But the truth is, quiet doesn't mean powerless. Sometimes it just means patient. Karen learned that the hard way. What started as a power trip ended as a cautionary tale. And Grandpa? Well, he's still fishing. Only now he has a bench with his name carved in it. A new rod, and more friends than ever. So the next time someone underestimates you, smile, cast your line, and let the lake do the talking. Comment below. What would you have done if Karen called the cops on your grandpa? And if you made it this far, type justice served in the comments so Grandpa knows who's in his corner. Until next time, stay sharp, and don't poke the quiet ones. You watch the videos, you smile, you get mad. Some of you even rewind and watch again. But subscribe? That part somehow slips by. Look, we're not asking for much, no forms, no fees. Just one little click that lets us know you're here. And you want more stories like this. So if you're the kind of person who enjoys stories that aren't just told, but felt, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Now, let me tell you a story about a lake, a quiet old man, and the kind of justice that doesn't need to shout.